follow-up. I'm Eden, and this is my dad, Noah, and every week we sit on my bed and have a conversation about something we want to talk about. And this week, we're going to talk about my first movie experience. So yesterday, on Saturday, very rainy day, so we decided we would go to the movies to see Barbie, because I wanted to see that for a little bit, and I know a bunch of people have seen it, and everybody says it's really good. And so why not? And that was my first time I have ever been in a movie theater to see a movie. So, yeah. It's interesting.
So, before we talk about the movie, what were your impressions of the movie theater? Because they're so different from when I was a kid.
It's nice. I like the seats. They're comfy.
Okay, explain.
I like how they go back a little bit and how there's the footrest.
Mm-hmm.
It's nice. And there's a lot of leg room.
Yeah. So in this theater, there were, 4 or 5 rows, maybe 10 seats in a row, 15 seats in a row, and tons of leg room, the automatic buttons on the side. I mean, I hadn't been in a movie theater in a while. I hadn't been in one since the pandemic. I've wanted to see some movies, I just haven't gone.
Yeah.
And the seats are really big,
Yeah.
wide, a lot of room.
There's
Cup holders. It was clean.
Very.
Totally different from when I was a kid. And
Yeah.
ticket prices for, I think maybe just the ticket prices have come down, or this was a special, or they're different prices for different movies. I don't know. But ticket prices for the adults were about $12.50.
Is that like?
And for kids, it was $10. No, I remember a few years ago going, and it was like $18. So I think it might just be dynamic pricing, different movies, different times.
Yeah. Also, just I would question. I know they were saying now. It's probably at bigger theaters, but I don't know if they would be doing it here. They're charging different amounts. They're starting to charge different amounts for different seats.
Oh, that could be too.
So I don't know if it was that, or I don't know if you had known what it was. But sometimes they'll do. I think they're starting to do maybe also like Broadway theaters.
Yes. Oh, for sure.
Of course
Broadway.
they do at Broadway.
Yeah,
but
sure.
like in movies where they'll charge different prices for different seats.
Huh.
Sometimes in the bigger theaters, I feel like probably, but
more in demand.
Like those like middle seats,
movies. Maybe like, but I feel like I did click on the different seats when I got the tickets just to see if the prices were changed. And for this one, it didn't. But I think you're right. So maybe in the very first row, it's less. Yeah. So we sat in the last row, but there's only 4 or 5 rows.
And like sitting in the last row, you would usually think, "Oh, that's such a bad thing." But here, probably the last row was probably one of the best seats.
Yeah, sure. And in a movie theater, it is a great seat. So when I was a kid, the ticket prices were, and we used to go a lot.
Yeah.
At like $4.50, $5 each, and so
if you're thinking about it, I feel like, at least for me, if I'm thinking about it now, the ticket prices, even though for a movie it's probably not that expensive, but if you're comparing it to that, it seems now, I feel like, so expensive to go to a movie compared to that.
Right, so if you think about it, so if you were to use your allowance to go to a movie, you get $2 a week.
Yeah.
You'd be spending 5 weeks allowance.
Right, but if it was
but then it would have been 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Yeah, 2.5 weeks. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And we used to go to the theater early as kids. This is if we weren't going with our parents, if we were just going with friends, and our parents would drop us off, and we're going with a group, we would go early and play arcade games.
Yeah, also then you would want to get seats.
Yeah, sure. So you'd go there earlier to get seats, but now you have reserved seats. Right, but we used to go and play at the Regal Theater where we went mostly. They had NBA Jam there, so we used to play NBA Jam and Mortal Kombat. That's where, it's a fighting game. So that's what we used to do. That's why we used to get there early and play those games. And then, maybe get some popcorn and, yeah. But this was your first time even in a theater. So as soon as you walk in, did you...
Like, I've been in a Broadway theater, but like movie theater.
Right, did you smell the popcorn right away?
Oh my god, that popcorn smell. It was upstairs, but, like, it hits you.
Oh, yeah. It's a lot of butter.
Oh, yeah.
But the theater itself, it was empty. It was, the theater, the building was empty. I think
Ours, I think, was packed.
Barbie was full, but it didn't feel full.
No.
So again, like when we were kids, the seats were more like a Broadway theater or like a basketball game where you're packed together, there's no leg room, and if you wanted to get out, it was a pain in the neck or just slide by somebody. It was just not ideal.
With the footrest out like that, you still have, if someone were to walk by, they still have like 2 whole feet.
Yeah, you could still get through easily.
Yeah,
you wouldn't even have to have someone, hey, excuse me, can you put your footrest down? You wouldn't even have to say that.
There's a lot of space.
Okay, so lights go down a bit, not all the way, for previews.
There are so many previews.
So if a movie starts at 3:45, the previews were maybe 15 minutes or so?
They were like an hour.
No, come on. They were about 15
it felt like that. There were like 15 previews.
Do you remember any of them?
There was the Taylor Swift Eras Tour. Comes out in theaters October 13th. That's the only thing I remember from it.
Mm-hmm. Do you want to see that?
Maybe.
Okay.
And then there was a Willy Wonka, it was called, like, How Willy Became Wonka.
Mm-hmm.
And that was it.
That was fun.
That was it.
Okay.
And there were, like, 10 other movies.
All right, so Barbie. What were your expectations going into the movie?
I don't know. Because I didn't know what to think of it. I had never seen a movie before. Haven't really...
You'd never seen a movie in the theater before.
Yeah.
Right. You've seen...
You're
not a huge movie...
person.
Right. But all the movies that you've seen... You've liked. But
I'm not a movie person.
You don't have the desire to always see movies. You'd rather watch different TV shows or things like that.
I don't really know what I was expecting. Also, because it was in a movie theater, it's different. Also, I haven't really watched any, like, Barbie movies like this before. So I didn't really know what to expect.
Okay. Did you like it?
I did.
What did you like about it?
One thing I liked is how they showed they had Mattel had played a big role in it. So it was like combining like the real world of Barbie to like the not real world of Barbie.
Mm-hmm.
I liked how they showed, like, well, I shouldn't give any spoilers here.
It's okay. Yeah, most people have seen. Most people who've seen the movie, who are interested, have seen the movie. We're pretty late to it.
I liked how they showed real places.
What do you mean?
Like California.
Okay. Yeah.
It was like real,
mm-hmm.
kind of, more or less. I liked how they showed discontinued dolls.
Mm-hmm.
That was cool. And I don't know if you remember they showed that playhouse and it was purple and it had the swing and it had the lock.
Mm-hmm.
That I had that.
Mm-hmm.
So I liked how they showed some, like, the real toys that they have.
Mm-hmm.
And, they showed some dolls and you could probably put them into doll form. Like, froze them, kind of. Like,
mm-hmm.
whatever. Like,
no more legs.
I had a bunch of Barbie dolls,
mm-hmm.
so that was cool.
What about the...
And I like the pink.
Yeah, very colorful.
Very.
What about the... Can you not play with your bracelets? Thanks. What about the message itself? What did you... Because, look, I know that you're not going to understand everything in that movie. There's some, even the vocabulary that might have been over your head, or some of the messages. But what did you, at almost 9 years old, take away from the message of the movie, not just the music and the scene and the Barbie dolls?
So, one thing that was how Barbie thought she had changed the world for women empowerment,
mm-hmm.
but then when they go to the real world, how they see how all these men are just ruling the world. And I think it was nice that Barbie was trying to change it, that women can also have a place in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Like a big role.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then I like that they did that by relating it to a mother and a daughter, and it was really the mother who was holding on to something and trying to connect with their daughter, and brought not just them back together, but worked on something for the real world. And it was a message to everybody else that, oh, wait a second, something was created for this intention to, for women empowerment, to show women that you can be anything, and of course you can, but it didn't have that effect right away, and that things evolve over time.
Yeah.
That she kept saying, what was it? Stereotypical Barbie, but a stereotype can evolve over time, and that's what she was hoping to do as well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Do you ever? I mean, look, you're fortunate to have a terrific female role model and mom here, and maybe you're not. I don't know. Maybe you're not old enough to realize certain things in the world, but this is one of the reasons why we always talk about confidence and being able to present yourself and working hard in certain areas and putting yourself in a position to succeed in anything, so that, like in this movie, a man just can't walk in and say, oh yeah, I could do that, I could do that, I could do that, I could do that, I could do that. Okay, yeah, sure, you're hired. Whereas a woman might have to really prove herself. But I want you to show that you are confident and that you can prove yourself, and that you hold yourself as like a combination of all of those Barbies. That you think you're beautiful, and you think that you can be a doctor if you wanted to, or be president if you wanted to, not cheating yourself in your own work, that you, in order to build that confidence. It's and I know sometimes that you might say, like, okay, Dad, okay, we get it, I get it, but it's something that is worthwhile thinking about every single day. Yeah, because I worry a ton about, every single day I worry about, all right, what is your life going to be like? Yeah. Every day I think about it in some capacity. Yeah. And I just want to make sure that you're always putting yourself in the best position to succeed, and with what you're thinking about and thinking through things, and making yourself proud every day. Yeah. Are there other movies now you want to see? No. No. Back to some TV shows? Yeah. What are you watching these days?
Well, like, we're watching baking shows that I need to get back in the role with. Mm-hmm. Summer baking, we need to finish.
Back in the role with? Like Swiss roll?
No pun intended. I wasn't thinking about that.
Okay.
But,
because it's back in the swing of things. Back in the groove.
Okay, whatever.
Okay.
Same thing.
Okay.
So, in the role with those, we watching maybe some new baking shows.
Yep. What are you watching on your own now?
Nicky, Ricky, Dicky, and Don still.
Okay.
Need to finish it.
That's Nickelodeon?
It's Nickelodeon, but on Netflix.
Got it.
Yeah.
Babysitter's Club?
A little bit.
Uh-huh.
But I've watched all of them, like, too many times.
Oh.
I really need to, like, take that off my list so I stop watching it.
Yeah, so do that.
I will.
Yeah.
But then I took it off once, but then I had to re-add it because I could still see it, and I couldn't prevent myself from stop watching it.
Oh. Is there a list? Is there an item that says "remove from my life" on there?
No.
No.
There is not.
Let's read a review before we close this out. So you can leave a rating, hopefully 5 stars, on Apple Podcasts, and it helps the podcast get discovered. And that's our hope, is that more kids see this, listen to this, parents watch it, listen to it with their kids, parents listen to it on their own. And remember, you can listen on Apple Podcasts, subscribe there so you don't miss any, follow on Spotify, and it's also on YouTube, the Follow-Up Podcast. Probably since just the past few months have been on there, but we've been doing this for over 3 years. So this one was for school lunch, from our last podcast. And I think school schedule, lunch might be a podcast multiple times throughout the year. This comes from M. Collagio. This should be required listening for school administrators, from the race to finish lunch to the decreased socialization. You know what that means? decreased. What does decreased mean?
Like down.
Lessened. Yep.
Yes.
Socialization.
Socialization, talking.
Yep.
Having
So
fun with your friends.
exactly. So you're
Like,
just
I
forced,
can't
just
talk.
like eat. Yep. To the poor food choices available at many of our schools, it's a real problem. Hearing from a young student should really put it into perspective. As always, Eden is remarkably articulate for her age. Nice to hear. And for any age. She offers great, honest insight into the reason why lunch is broken at many American schools. As a father of 2 young children, this podcast really, really resonated with me. So thank you, Anna Colagio. And you were right about something this week in school lunch, right?
Yeah, I was. So it was supposed to be, I forget what it was on Friday, but it was like a new vegetarian meal. I didn't get it because I was thinking something might be a little suspicious. Because usually when there's a new meal, never happens. And I was right about that.
Right, so you say that, okay, yes, it's a new meal, might look good, but until I see it on someo's plate, this meal does not exist yet because you don't think it's actually going to happen.
Nope, and it didn't.
And it didn't happen. Yeah.
Too bad.
All right, I love you very much.
Love you.